Okay, so welcome back. We're on our third video 3 in our informal series on language learning. We touched on memory, cognitive theory, and a few other things in that last video. And we've also touched on some initial strategies that I would use to help someone dive confidently and consistently into language to make sure that they're learning important things, also learning smart, so to speak. We don't just want to work hard, we want to work smart, and we want to make sure that the effort that we're putting in is giving us as much return as possible. I will say, just briefly on the cognitive theory, that really changed for the better my teaching. Here in the UK, at least, you do year one, which is PGCE, and you're kind of on the leash. They really don't want to let you go and do stuff because they don't really trust you, and the classroom's a tough environment at the best of times. And there is a huge difference between a qualified and experienced teacher and someone that's just starting off. Often it doesn't look like it, but there are 1,000 things that the qualified and experienced teacher has learned, picked up, and just absorbed and added to their toolkit, if you will, as they go along, which just look invisible. You get up and you try and copy them, and it's so difficult. And one of the things that really helped was cognitive theory and helping my students figure out ways to actually learn stuff. The other thing, which I will touch on in another video, is the question of motivation. And that is kind of worms in itself. That's a really big topic and one that needs its own video. I thought today we would touch on technology, apps, websites, resources, most of them online. I think the internet is wonderful, obviously it has a very dark side, but if we skim along the surface and we know where to go, it can be an immense blessing. And I think if used properly, with motivation and some smarts, most things are quote unquote possible. It's still not possible for a tortoise to breathe in space. That was what I always used to answer at primary school when I was being told, everything's possible. So I said, well, I can't breathe in space, and nor can tortoise. So on that, let's move on to Memrise. Now, this, as I say, is one of my favorite websites. It's a phone app. I do like the desktop version, and I'll give you a quick tip here. If you go onto the desktop version, you download or you start a course, it will appear on your phone app. However, it doesn't work the other way. Not always. If you go on the phone app, typically what you will be given are Memrise courses. So they'll have, they're really good, by the way, like a Spanish 1, Spanish 2. Sometimes it goes all the way up to a Spanish 10. I'd recommend it. Have a go. If you're in the language learning for the long run, can't hurt. My brother, who I hope to interview at some point, because he has learned Norwegian from scratch, he did all of those Norwegian courses and then branched out into things that he found really interesting. Quite apart from what Memrise recommended, he'd already ticked that box. So let's just go through and I'll give a bit of commentary. We've got some kind of German courses here that I've created for my students. So German false friends, German cognates and near cognates. That is going to be another video. All right. German classroom phrases, German useful phrases, German verbs. All right. All the stuff we love. Okay. So those are some courses that I've created, and it's not massively difficult. To be honest, it takes time, but there's a resource that I've been able to create for my students, which, if they use it properly and they put in 5-10 minutes a day, they'll learn that really, really quickly, and it'll stay there. Moving down, here's the Spanish one that I mentioned. I've also been learning Russian. I did Russian at university, and I'm kind of trying to de-rust it, if you will. I've also got some French A-level topic vocabulary for my classes. Learn French and Polyglot. There really is just so much. There's a lot of rubbish, don't get me wrong, but there is a lot of really good stuff. And if just give yourself 5-10 minutes and just explore, find the stuff that really interests you. I'm going to do another video, I think, as well on this course because it kind of encapsulates all of the problems that I had with my Russian course when I was at university. Respect and credit to all of the teachers. Many of them were extremely knowledgeable and very friendly, but there were significant, fundamental problems that really didn't work for me, and I was paying a lot of money for it, and that's on me. But I think I was a bit naive, and I think I rushed into it. This course, you would think, would be really, really good. It's okay. There's 992 items to learn, and they want you to learn that in 1 year. Now, that sounds like a lot. It's not. It's really, really not. And if you use Memrise and you start to get to grips with it, and you're just consistent, just every day doing 10-15 minutes, 1,000 items learned in 1 year. By Memrise standards, that's not great. So this is all of the stuff that you'll come across on Memrise. Now, Memrise, let's dive in, shall we, to something. Let's look at colloquial Russian because we can click on Learn New Words. Now, here at the top, someone's created this, and this was my course book actually from uni. And yep, just a brief little intro that XJ94 has decided to include. You could tweet her, you could reach out to her Memrise. That's definitely possible. We've got a leaderboard down here. So Devin and Iegel and Vaquero, they are in 1 week they've got that many points. So they've been really hitting Memrise and learning. And the way that this kind of works is you'll just click on language, and we've got. XJade has just taken this from the first chapter, I think. It's kind of a conversation about an Englishman. I can't remember his name, but it might be Mr. Green, and he arrives at the airport, and he's kind of there on business. Okay, you'll click on Learn These Words, and I'm not going to go through it. I'll let you discover that. But basically, you can see here, you click on it once, and you get it right. For the first time, the seed goes into the plant pot, and you have to recap it, I think, 5 times initially, and the plant grows. And then when the plant is fully grown and the sunflower comes out, it's embedded in your short-term memory. Okay, you've recapped it 5-6 times. And then what's really cool about Memrise, Russian's very cool, but it applies to all languages. What's really, really cool about Memrise is it will insist upon you being able to recap that, say 20 minutes later, and then 6 hours later, and then the next day. And Memrise will pop up with little notifications on your phone if you let it. If you don't, every time you go into the app, and it will be kind of low-key flashing saying, come back and water the plant, which is a nice, simple little metaphor, and it makes sense. If you don't water the plant, it's going to kind of wither and wilt and die. So it's the same thing really with address on angliski, anglichanin. Now I know these because I've just repeated them tons, but it serves a point. The same thing with the recap of the Russian alphabet. I just know it. I just know it. And that's just, again, repetition and lots of review. Another cool little thing that I want to show you with the courses. I know on Duolingo they've got stuff like Klingon and High Valyrian, I think it is, and Dothraki. And I just love that. I love that when passionate people who clearly have too much time on their hands and just have a thing for George R. Martin or Star Trek, create a language course for those mythical languages. It's great. Very cool. If you come down onto all categories, wow, this is not on the phone app, folks. Okay. Now, I played lacrosse, men's lacrosse. There's a place in my heart for for the Native Americans. I've never been. I have to, make sure that well, as with all of these things, these are old and ancient cultures, and I really don't want to say anything on the internet that might, come across as kind of weeaboo fanboy, something inappropriate, basically. I think the white man, so to speak, has done a lot of harm already, and I think that the way that Native Americans, as a collective, are treated in the States is still pretty awful. But nonetheless, the Algonquian, specifically the Iroquois, gave us lacrosse. It's a sport very close to my heart, and I suppose that the Iroquois are therefore close to me as well. But I must admit I don't really know that much about their culture. But as you can see here, there are some really encouraging attempts by Native Americans themselves to keep their languages going. Their small courses are looking at 50, 60. As you get higher, by the way, you will come across, but typically what Memrise will do, it will put the most popular courses at the top. So we've got Ojibwe phrases one. So Janabeg has created this course, and it's had nearly 2,000 learners. I would presume that Janabeg is either a very passionate Ojibwe speaker or a teacher, and he's using this to kind of help his community. That is a long road, I think, and I think that's another video in itself. But keeping language, recapturing and reculturing a people after it's been taken from them, specifically their language, that's a hard, long road, but one that I am, in principle and in spirit, very sympathetic and very supportive of. You can see here there's all sorts, Greenlandic, Cherokee. I just want to show you this because it really depicts the wide variety. Yes, okay, only a few hundred, a few dozen have been doing these languages. That's a lot more than zero, and the variety that is possible on Memrise is really encouraging. I have heard as well that if you want to use Memrise for, again, professional learning, one that always comes to mind specifically is medical doctors, trainee doctors at uni. They have so much to learn. And when I was at uni, I heard a funny FYI that first year biochemistry learned more new vocabulary than beginner's Italian, which is nuts. And probably not all that enjoyable, but Memrise is a great memory tool for helping you with that. I think I'm going to stop this video here. We've still got a few tabs to go through, but I don't want this video to really run over. That's basically Memrise. That's my go-to language learning app and desktop. And as I say, if you go onto the desktop, create yourself an account. I don't have a premium account. I think what they offer for non-premium at the moment is superb and does the job. Yeah, as I say, if you go onto the desktop and you activate a course, that will then appear on your phone app. The phone app is great. As you're sitting on the loo or just on the train or just going about your day, it's just really quick. You can drop in, water a few pieces of vocabulary, get on with your day. All right, so I'll stop this video and then I will do another video looking through some other piece of technology, apps and such that are really helpful for language learning. Thank you guys.